It is April 1973, and West Indian heads of government gather in Georgetown, Guyana, to sign the accord establishing the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, the latest effort at unity by their diverse and separate states. 6 weeks later, here at London's Kennington Oval, the West Indies cricketers, already a famed and identifiable unit, add special meaning to the new initiative. They defeat England by a thumping 153 runs.
The crowd here, the West Indian contingent particularly, going wild with excitement.
These were to be significant, simultaneous events in two very important areas of West Indian life.
CARICOM marked a fresh start to the process of regional integration following the traumatic collapse in 1962 of the transient West Indies Federation.
But if they know they didn't want federation.
The triumph at the Oval ended an especially bleak period for West Indies cricket, which had gone 4 years and 20 tests without a single victory. Public despondency touched rock bottom, the West Indies Cricket Annual of 1972 noted. In much the same way, there had been widespread despair over the political fragmentation. The 25 years since has been a period of radical change, and CARICOM and cricket have been central in bringing together those Caribbean people for whom the English language and a British colonial background are common bonds.
It's a role that cricket has played for well over 100 years, a longevity that nothing else identifying itself as West Indian can claim.
The first interterritorial match between Barbados and what was then British Guyana took place in 1865, before cars, telephones, or aeroplanes were yet on this planet. The first West Indies team was formed in 1886 and toured the United States and Canada. Its first trip to England was in 1900. So cricket's influence and significance were already firmly established by the time Federation and CARICOM came along. The game had become an integral part of the social, cultural and political development of the former colonies, where it had practically become a way of life. Internationally, it had demanded recognition through its excellence, and at the time, there was not much else West Indian that could make that boast. Yet West Indies cricket has never known busier, more turbulent, more controversial, or more glorious times than in the past quarter century.
And it goes to this magnificent cricketer and how well he and his team have deserved it.
In these 25 years, the West Indies played 200 test matches and 350 one-day games. In the 45 years before that, the count had been 143 test matches and not a single one-day match.
For differing reasons, they've had whole teams of their players poached by maverick Australians and South Africans. And with the advent of political independence for all, insularity has been more openly displayed through boycotts, demonstrations and abuse of players and selectors, and even within the West Indies Cricket Board itself. To be sure, the West Indies had already given the game several of its icons and established its strength long before the 70s. To be sure, their cricket had passed through its rough times before. By 1973, Gary Sobers, the lithe left-hander with the rare capacity to master every aspect of this most complex of sports, was by general acclaim the finest all-round cricketer of all time. George Headley and the three W's, Frank Worrell, Everton Weekes and Clyde Walcott, were batsmen fit to be rated in any company. Sonny Ramadan and Alf Valentine, a pair of mystifying spin bowlers. George John, George Francis, Manny Martindale, Larry Constantine and Herman Griffith, Wes Hall and Charlie Griffith, fared fast bowlers of different generations. In the 1960s, under Worrell's astute captaincy, the West Indies earned the right to be deemed the best team in Test cricket. By the mid-1970s, a bunch of young players of such talent was emerging that they would surpass even those earlier heights and establish a domination never before known in international cricket, or for that matter, any other international sport.
Chris Howell now to face Ghana. And he's bowled him too. Jarvis having a ball out there.
In 1974, a new captain, Clive Lloyd, took the helm, and his young team was winning its first series in the always demanding environment of India.
What about the canvas mat on concrete?
The seeds of bounty were being sown and would soon be harvested.
And that's a big ordeal for Clive Lloyd. Whether Clive will be as good a skipper as Frank Worrell, well, it's got a lot to do.
I was quite surprised in the sense that, you know, first time I'd captained any team. I was playing at Lancashire for quite a while, and being a senior player, I think that helped me quite a lot too, playing county cricket and learning a lot under Jack Bond and one or two of the other senior players here. But the team that I had, as you said, they were quite young and enthusiastic.
What we'll do it all together first, and then we'll overdub you afterwards. Can you do harmony? Sweat all day in burning sun, Aussie paceman, not much fun.
We gelled together. I think they were more or less looking for some sort of father figure, somebody to guide them. And our cricket really was in the doldrums at that time. But fortunately, we came good, and everything just sort of ran smoothly from there on in.
That's hoisted away into the backstop balcony. A tremendous blow by Clive Lloyd.
In 1975, with Lloyd himself to the fore with a wonderful 100, and with 3 magnificent run-outs from the young Viv Richards, the West Indies won the first World Cup, beating Australia in the final at Lord's.
Throw there from Viv Richards, a delighted Viv Richards.
It's a great occasion for me, it's a great occasion for the players. There'll never be another for us. The point about it, that when we won that tournament, I think it gave our economic situation where West Indies is concerned a bit of a boost, because we didn't have any money at the time. And I remember Donald Carr saying, well, we asked for more money, and they said, well, it's obvious that you haven't won any test matches for, you know, the last 21 tests, so you're not a crowd puller as such, so you have to settle for what we give you. And that stuck in my mind, that it's obvious that you had to be a top-class nation to get, you know, to have that guarantee situation, because we couldn't have a reciprocity situation because of the people we have in the West Indies. Our stands, you know, we couldn't hold a lot of people. We couldn't afford those exorbitant sort of, you know, prices for tickets like they do in England and Australia. So I think it was a situation where our best bargaining power was to be the best in the world. And that's what I set out to do.
He got it in no uncertain terms. Beautiful flashing cover drive, typical of the man. The bat raised, the crowd on their feet. And what a delightful exhibition this has been by Clive Lloyd.
Batting-wise, I think that we can match Australia. Our feeling is, you know, one of the most important parts in our game. And I think that this could be the deciding factor, really. The catching and, you know, saving of runs and that sort of thing. But I think in our all-round strength, we might be a bit better.
West Indies were 3 for 92 at stumps on the third day's play. This means that they're still currently 169 runs behind Australia's first innings total, with only 7 second innings wickets in hand. Defeat stares them in the face unless they're...
Less than a year after their World Cup triumph, in the winter of 1975-76, Lloyd's team would take a 5-1 drubbing in the Test series against Australia. But this was to prove a blessing in disguise.
Fouled him.
As far as the West Indies team is concerned, I think that put a lot of different doubts in people's minds and also had an effect on our captain, Clive Lloyd. He saw what fast bowling was all about. He saw what fast bowling could do to the opposition. And I think he decided then and there that if he could develop some good fast bowlers in the West Indies team, he could have a very good team.
A lovely day for cricket. Blue skies and gentle breeze. The Indians are waiting now to play the West Indies.